The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Wakanda forever. What's up, Deadites? I was hoping to have this done a whole lot sooner in February, but Black History Month, shortest month of the year, I swear. But still, this story is at least in part in honor of Chadwick Boseman. May he rest in peace. Welcome, my Deadites, to What If Spider-Man was Wakandan. Wakanda is a wonderful place to be, an absolute utopia filled with the highest in technological and scientific advancements. That's all well and good, if you're fortunate enough to have a family and be in their registry, that is. This is not the case for our hero, and it's time to tell you why. But before you can meet him, you must first come to meet his mother. Amara was the daughter of a dignitary and as such was going to school in New York. She was having problems your average teenage girl would have, despite her background. Her father hoped she would take her studies more seriously. Fun fact, she was born in America and has never even been in Wakanda. So she would behave as an American teenager would. Sure, she knew Wakanda was more than it seemed. She just wasn't aware of its full majesty. Come on, they're not in Wakanda, they're in New York. Queens, to be specific. Queen's life was all she really knew. She was excellent in school and had many friends but what concerned her father was this boy she kept talking about. Oh, how concerned he should be, because in a few months later she was pregnant and was sent back to Wakanda. The father tried to intercept, and by that I mean the father of the child. If she was having this child, he had the right to be in the child's life. As angry as Amara's father could be, he wasn't going to deny that claim. He's a decent person. The boy was a good man, but quite frankly, Amara's father could tell that having a child at his age would mean he'd most likely quit school and get a job to support his family. Dozim couldn't have that and lied through his teeth. There were complications. They did not make it, my boy. I shall be heading home to settle affairs. Of course, there will be a wake for her here, but I have been summoned back to Wakanda for damage control. You did not hear this from me, my boy, but there was a terror attack. My daughter has been confirmed dead. There is no news of the child, but I shall have you know that he was given your last name. Do not change your number, boy. If I have more news for you, I shall call, whether it is good or bad. You deserve closure as much as I do. Dozim closed his door and began packing his things. While yes, he was in the Wakandan embassy, let's just say that that boy had a pass to enter. Everyone knew his relationship to Dozim's daughter, Amara. So, and this is the Wakandan embassy. Come on, man. What could a normal, average New Yorker do? Dozim would later call The boy. The child is dead, my boy. I am so sorry. Now, the truth was that the child was presumed dead. They had no way of knowing that by some miracle, the boy had found his way into the shields of Wakanda. When the baby awoke, he cried a mighty cry. It was unfortunate that the company the baby was in was most unsavory indeed. Of course, a baby would have no way of knowing that, but back to the point. Years go by and our young man is working under the employ of these unsavory types in the lower levels of Wakanda. Now, Wakanda doesn't exactly have a slum or anything like that because it's Wakanda, but this area ain't the cushiest of locations as far as Wakanda goes. Wakanda is a great place to be if you know your lineage. Our boy here has no clue who he is or where he came from, so he's basically, as far as he knows, a low class citizen. As for work he's doing, he's a lookout. I did mention that these were unsavory types, yes? He was on the lookout for guards, and when any came, he was to sound the alarm. He did so, and his crew got out with a small fortune. High quality vibranium, gems, even some weaponry. Of course, when he asked for his share, that is when things went south. Your share, boy? Of course. Give me a second. There was a pain in his head, and that usually meant danger for our boy. Our boy jumped out of the car and continued to jump as if he was Crash Bandicoot or Frogger. Of course, while he was being shot at. Now, these cars are in the air, so yeah. He's getting his Spider-Man Unlimited on. Jumping and jumping and jumping. I mean, he didn't bother questioning why he wasn't falling off, but he was jumping very quickly. He managed to dodge every last bullet and eventually landed in safety, or more accurately, crash landed, right in the home of an older woman. Good thing he hit the bed, though. Unfortunately, he did crash through said roof. The woman takes a look at this boy that so rudely fell through her home. His bones should have been broken, but for some reason were only heavily bruised. He would not be in need of severe medical attention for that matter. The old woman would allow this boy a moment of rest and patch up her roof. Back to those unsavory types. They report to their boss that and get a massive payout. However, didn't the boy go with you? What happened to him? Without missing a beat, one of the crooks spoke up. It would seem that his impeccable luck finally ran out, sir. We lost him. I'd sleep on some of the heavier stuff if I were you, sir. Don't want anybody investigating and whatnot. This bitch was lying through her teeth. But the boss bought it. To a point. Very well, Rawi. We lost a good one today. In his honor, take these. The boss attached a rather odd-looking headpiece to Rari's ponytail. She looked at it, and it kind of resembles a scorpion, and it was even moving on her will, too. The boss was sweet on the boy, and this action made it clear that he had some inkling of what really happened, but had no proof. Be on your way. Uno Madwane. For years to come, Rawi Memvo would be known as the Scorpion, one of the boss's heavy hitters. Before we continue, I'm using a name generator for the Wakandan names. In the cinematic universe, denizens of Wakanda speak either Igbo or Xhosa, depending on their tribe. I won't be going that far into detail with dialogues, since I don't really speak either, and things can be lost in translation. While Google Translate is your friend, it can always botch up. It is not invincible. But back to the story. The owner of the roof our boy fell through took the necessary precautions to aid in his recovery as soon as she was done patching up that roof. Whoever he was running from would most likely be searching for some sort of destruction to find his body, loose ends and whatnot. It wasn't a far leap to assume that he was somehow ensnared in the criminal element. Well, if she had anything to say about it, and she would make damn sure she did, he wouldn't. The boy's former crew came looking as she thought they would. However, they find nothing. No way that kid survived. His body was probably disposed of. Let's get back to the boss and say that he's been taken care of. The goons agreed to that. I love it when goons are lazy, don't you? About an hour after that, the boy arose from his slumber. Ah, Sleeping Beauty awakes. The boy looked confused. Who? Getting a good look at this boy, he looked to be about 8, 10 tops. Haven't you ever read a bedtime story? Or had one read to you, boy? How old are you? The boy starts doing the mental math. I don't know my actual birthday. The crew usually celebrates the day they found me, but I think I'm, 1, 2, 3. He's counting fingers, by the way. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think I'm 7. Thanks for letting me rest, lady. I'd better leave before. The woman smacked the boy dead center in the stomach with the cane, and he fell back onto the bed. No sense involved. He gets back up and she tries again. This time his senses actually warn him, and he dodges only to be hit with a haymaker. You have good senses about you, boy, but your reflexes need work. If you wish to thank me, then you shall pay off the price of the roof by being my student. You have much to learn, and I have much to teach. The boy attacks in defiance, only to be hit with a flurry of blows via a broom and be knocked out by the last attack. Before he passed out again, however, like I said, much to learn. Your lessons shall begin tomorrow. Fade back to the Scorpion's crew. So, you found nothing, eh? The boy's carcass must have been collected and disposed of. That works well for us. Now that I have this position and title from the boss, we'll be getting better jobs. Do not sleep up. Scorpion addressed her men and walked away to see her new furnishings. A new day comes, and the owner of the home our boy is crashing at, and literally crashed in, was abruptly woken up. He jumps high in the air and is attached to the ceiling. The woman looks for the boy. Where in the world is he? I know he did not leave the house. Little rascal is a quiet one. As our boy relaxed, he fell back to the bed and she saw this. Were you on the... Now that is interesting. Come, my boy. We have training to do. Now, I'm not going to lie here. A good amount of said training was Miyagi-Do style. And the fun part is, he doesn't even complain at all. She was waiting for the complaint, but it never came. He did all the house chores, heavy lifting, and was also made to run laps. Now, I say old woman, but that's only from a 7-year-old's perspective. She's like 30, if that. The boy had been living here for almost a week. and the lady was quite impressed with how he was handling himself. Of course, since he never complained, she would have to take the initiative and attack him eventually. He said to alert him. Towels! He grabs a hand and makes a ring motion. Floors! He gets low and attacks the legs. Mats! He uses his hands and does sumo like pat motions. Windows! He blocks her punches as if it was nothing. The card! He continues in an even smoother type of motions. Flip the chute! She manages to get the woman off of her balance and flip her on her back. Of course, before that happens, she refocuses and does a flip. As the boy executed the commands without fail, his master was happy. Kid was a natural, as you have figured out by now. I have been building your reflexes and muscles. You have a ways to go, but under my tutelage, you shall become a fine warrior. Trust in me, boy. I suppose it would be easier to trust me if you had my name. I am Raounde Oriba. What is your name, child? Once again, name generator. The boy bows at her. I don't have a name. I am a lost one, and as such am less than nothing. I appreciate your tolerance of one such as myself, but for one with no lineage, I will never amount to anything. The name I have been referred to as in the crew was Akonto. Thus, I am nothing. Raounde was aghast and took a deep breath. Boy, who told you that lie? All we need do is take you to any medical facility and they will be able to discern your lineage. That sort of treatment is for those who choose to ignore their heritage. If you were with this crew for as long as you can remember, then you had no choice in this matter. You were used, boy. Anger welled up in the boy at when he was told this. The crew he believed to be family had lied to him for years. They kept him down and used him as an asset to be disposed of as they saw fit, forcing him to be satisfied with scraps when he could have lived a good life with a proper family that loved him. Raounde made it clear that at the very least he would have found his way into an orphanage had the crew done the right thing. The rage was clear in the boy's face despite the tears that were falling from his eyes. I know that face. You want revenge. You are not ready for that, boy. I shall help you reach your proper potential. But first we must know who you are, yes? They got in the car. A hot pink Cadillac Coupe de Ville. What? She likes old school American vehicles. And flew off to see a friend of hers. As they were making their way there, the boy was astounded by her beauty and awestruck by how cool she looked in this specific moment. Of course, Raounde noticed the boy's glance, but let it pass, since it wasn't a gaze of a crush or like anything like that. It was more like pure admiration. She liked the way the boy stared at him in admiration. To be clear, they've been together for a week, so he has seen the goods. They bathed together, but let's get back to the point, shall we? Raoul's friend was able to do an inspection under the table as requested. She didn't want to garner the attention of the criminal underworld, especially since it appeared that the boy was a pawn of the syndicate. Temporary name. A blood sample was taken, and the boy was out cold, head resting on Raoul's body, where the two were lying on the couch. and he was positioned so his head was resting atop her breast, but the rest of him was to her side. She was looking straight into it. The boy was an utter angel when he was asleep. The couch was quite big, yes, but remember, he's 7. He is tiny. Raru's friend had to suppress the squeaks building in her at how adorable the sight was. Huh, I'm glad you finally got yourself a child. Well, his name is. If you liked that, let's get a United States smash on that like button. If you're not subscribed, consider going full cowling with that subscribe button. And let's go plus ultra with the notifications. Ring that bell, baby. Rest easy, Deadites. And remember, the night is ours.